So it is what it is. I was on live last night and someone asked me to do a thing on Adam Ellison's unsolved murder. You might have heard frequent appeals by the authorities and Crime Watch and the parents and the sister, which is, it needs to be done. Why? Because it's an unsolved crime in the Prescott area. And we all know what the Prescott area has become. Prescott, Huyton, Knowsley, West Derby. To me, it's all the same contingency. It's all the same groups. They all work off the same parcels. They all get the food or the drugs from the same individuals. So it's one big network of rats that are going around that area, shooting people dead when they feel like it. In this case, you've got a young man, a hard-working young man, does nothing but loves his family, looks after himself, goes to work every day. On a Friday night, he's gone out to enjoy himself with his family and friends, and rats on motorbikes have turned up, had a confrontation, and fatally wounded him to the point where within an hour of him being hit by whatever he got hit with, he died at hospital. So before I start, I want to tell you what's on tonight. I'm going to tell you a little thing about loyalty, right? I want the people who are listening and understand that loyalty is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So I'll go on to loyalty, then I'll go on to what I've done today about the Adam Ellison unsolved murder. And then I've been in contact since 2017 on and off with various girls who have been putting very, 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 very nasty allegations against a well-known family in the city of Liverpool. This family is a generational crime family. What do I mean by that? The dads, the granddads, the sons, all worked in the trade of dealing drugs and intimidating individuals. Now, I've always known that, the Kelly family, I need to reiterate now, you all know my issue with this family. You all know my issue with the little stump who makes his bird have homosexual sex in groups. But I'll get to that later on. What I don't want people thinking is, oh, he's just hating on this family and that's why he's coming out with all this. I'm not coming out with, I've been listening to a lot of deep allegations, and I believe the girls that are making these allegations. It's not one, it's not two, I've heard three. I haven't told the girls who I'm speaking to that I've been speaking to other girls, but that's just the way I am. For me, it is what it is. You know, you've got a very, very dangerous paedophile lurking in the mist, and he's been going for well over 4 decades, and he's been targeting schoolgirls all over the place, especially from the West Derby area and the Hale Wood area. Come near the end of that, I will be sharing that information. I believe this girl, I believe the other girls. When they're telling me the stuff they're telling me, I believe there's other victims out there. And the whole reason of me start speaking about this near the end of the content is to hopefully encourage them girls that have suffered at the hands of this monster for a long, long time. The monster has used his brother's sons to intimidate these girls who have made allegations of molestation, rape, anal rape, and so on and so forth. It's very, very nasty, and I felt sick when I had the conversation. Now, as always, people, I cover my arse. So every conversation I've had with these individuals has been recorded. If anyone starts trying to tell me as if it's not true, I can then produce the recordings of these conversations so you know I'm coming from the right angle. Let me reiterate one more time. You know, and you have heard of me pitying Smelly Belly Kelly, the MMA fighter that won his fights through steroids, the one that batters his kids mad and's no longer with her, the one that's with a bisexual woman, the daughter of Wynne, the drug dealer. So it is what it is, people. I'm not going to be chatting. I believe it's true, and that's why I'm going to bring it to you. As I said before, I'm bringing it to you because I believe there's well more victims out there that have suffered at the hands of this dangerous nonce, and he needs exposing. Everyone's been scared to expose him. Why? because of the family he comes from. I'm not. It's about time this family got what they needed, especially the nonce that has been anally raping young girls, taking them to massage parlours where they're being abused by older men left, right and centre. And it's going to come out whether you like it or not. It's the truth in my eyes, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So what we're going to do first, people, if you'd like to like the live feed, that's the first thing you need to be doing. If you can share the live feed, magnificent. If you can subscribe, magnificent again. But come on, let's get it flowing. I want more people to hear about this nonce. It's coming at the end. As I said before, I'm going to speak about loyalty. Then I'm going to go into the Adam Ellison unsolved murder. And then I'm going to go back onto the loyalty phase again. And then we're going to speak about this dirty, dying, old nonce that's been in the city for years, abusing skew girls in the worst. It's just sickening what I've heard, basically. It tears my stomach. When you've got a girl telling you that this man has anally raped her and told her once he's done that, you are now a woman, good girl, you took that like a woman. It makes you sick, okay? So it's got to be exposed. It is what it is. I believe it's the truth, and it's going to come out near the end of this content. So let me start with loyalty and what it is. The definition of loyalty is a strong feeling of support or allegiance to a group, a gang, or an organisation. A strong feeling of support or allegiance to a group, a gang, or an organisation, yeah? It can be a relative, it can be a brother, and it can be a friend. You know, your loyalty is very powerful, and you've got to really choose who you... Loyalty is a very purposeful thing to have within you, because there's not much of it about. Loyalty can affect you in both ways, good and bad. It can save your life. It can also take your life. It can make you secure or very insecure. Why am I raising the subject of loyalty? Because I believe it when it's given to the right person or team, it's okay. I've been hurt big because I thought people were loyal, family, friends, associates. I've done jail alone through loyalty to people not being a snitch, doing jail. You don't get no real gratitude for the loss of your freedom, and you don't see each other no more. Later on, the same people don't acknowledge you sometimes. So loyalty, standing strong with a person or group, being loyal, where no matter what, you stay staunch, no matter what this person or group are doing, you're remaining loyal, not really appreciating the risk these people are putting you in. Yous lads out there staying loyal to things or groups that sell Class A's, that kick families' door in, or shoot young girls dead, or who minds guns and drugs at your nan's, or your girlfriend's mum's house, or in your room. You need to understand who you're trusting and being loyal to, because let me tell you all right now, there is no loyalty when it comes to gangs and dealers. No honour amongst thieves, they still say. So basically, just think who and what you align yourself to. Who are you giving your strength to? Who are you giving your loyalty to? You need to really question it. And if you're remaining loyal to a group that are running around the city, killing innocent men on a night out, you need to reevaluate what you're doing, because life will always have a way of getting back at you for keeping such a poisonous secret from a family that's in pain. So I'm going to start with Adam Ellison. It's short and brief, but it is what it is. You're all aware of it. I'm sure you are. If you're not, Google it. It's a very, very sad case. It's another family that's been destroyed since 2017. It is what it is. Let's get into it. the Real Crime, Real-Time podcast will today focus on the unsolved murder of Liverpool-born Adam Ellison. Adam, at the age of 29 years old, was savagely attacked with a knife on Saturday, the 4th of November, 2017. Adam was walking home with friends and family after a night out, and in the early hours of Saturday morning, around 12:40 a.m, got into an altercation with a gang of lads from the local area, which resulted in Adam being fatally wounded to the neck and sadly dying as a result. With family and friends trying frantically to save him, he was rushed to hospital but died at hospital at 2 a.m. that morning. Adam, a law-abiding citizen with no links to crime, had gone out to enjoy his evening after leaving work, where he held a role as a manager at the local Tesco store. As he and family made their way home on foot, a group of lads on motorbikes began a confrontation with Adam. During the confrontation, one suspect on a bike pulled a knife on Adam, striking him to the neck. The suspects then left the area on the bikes. It's been 5 years since the murder of Adam Ellison. There has been arrests and evidence collected, but as of yet, no charges have been brought. The area where Adam was attacked is known for a gang activity and their drug dealing. Over the years, this gang of young lads have been causing trouble in and around that area for quite some time. The gang and lads responsible for Adam's murder are very well known amongst the criminal fraternity and hold a reputation for violence and fear within that community. There are people who know who and why they attacked Adam that night. The motorbike was identified, the images of CCTV, and most of all, there is a few lads holding this dirty secret. The identities of the lads on the bike. Without a doubt, the authorities will have intelligence on who is believed responsible for this callous murder of a decent young man, law-abiding citizen, enjoying a night out after a hard working week. He deserves to be treated. YouTube. He's a hard working man and he needs to be treated, and he needs to be mentioned now that use people that are holding the information that you've got need to release that information so this family can rest and let justice prevail. The way Adam was 5 years ago, these lads were young. Now they're young adults, over 21 years of age, and have gone on to commit more nasty acts of violence within the same area and surrounding area. Loyalties in that life of crime change consistently, and now with a few suspects in custody for other serious crimes, their fear factor they once possessed is no longer there, and as always, we rely on the community to break the wall of silence in the pursuit of justice for Adam's family. As stated earlier, arrests and some progress within the investigation has been made, but not enough to bring the culprits to arrest, charge, and place before a court of law. So let's look at the progress so far. Yeah. On the 24th of the 9th, 19, the police arrested 3 males for the murder of Adam Ellison. The 3 males was of the ages 2 17-year-olds and a 22-year-old man, all 3 from the Eighton area. On the 4th of November 2019, police released details on the green and white motocross bike. The detectives on the case believe that the distinctive green and white Kawasaki KX85 big wheel was either stolen or sold on from the Devon and Cornwall region of the country. Due to the Gibbs detailing and shock absorbers that's on the bike being unique to a bike performance garage in Plymouth, a well-known drug dealing hotspot for Liam Cornett, Carroll and Co. As said, detectives believe this bike to be stolen or purchased in the time leading up to October 2017. There's 2 points I'd like to raise. These types of bikes have become a regular asset for these drug dealing gangs and have always been put in transit vans to destinations like Plymouth, where organised crime groups from Huyton West Derby, ply their poisonous trade. The dealers in Plymouth from Liverpool, once controlled by Michael Lungi, then taken over by Liam Cornett, Carroll, or the Lamb, too many, is still ongoing, with vast amounts of drugs and cash consistently being sent back and forth. And it's known to me by information received that bikes like this KX85 and others recently, Surons electric bikes, have been getting transferred up and down the motorway in the back of transit vans. My next point is the ages of the suspects that was arrested in 2019. At that point, they was two 17-year-olds, which make them 20 years of age, maybe 21 now. And the 22-year-old would be 25, 26 now. Let me say now, it's irrelevant that Boyle and Murphy are in custody on another murder charge. The fact of the matter is justice needs to be served. And in 2017, Liam Cornett was an iconic figure in the Eighton area at the times. At the times, the majority of the motorbikes in the area stemmed from his group. That group do control the drug supply around Devon and Cornwall and Plymouth. On top of that is the connection of Murphy's dad to Liam Cornett, which has been established for years and years. Now, let me make it clear, I'm not suggesting Cornett to be the murderer, but I am suggesting the KX85 was owned and used by his dealer in the run-up to the murder of Adam. What do I base that theory on? The information I know and recent information I've received. Just to clarify, the 22-year-old man mentioned earlier was arrested for theft of a motor vehicle, namely the motorbike. Since 2017, there has been 12 arrests and an offer of £25,000 reward, but still the criminals are partially dismantled by the effort of the police, with some doing life sentences and others for drugs offences. This is the time for you, yes, you, who has the vital pieces of information to share it, whether it's with police or by use of the Crime Stoppers phone number. Or you can send the information to me via my Instagram sites. You have the opportunity to redeem your sins and help Adam's family receive the justice they deserve. Let me just say, if the people you're protecting feel you can be trusted, you can't be trusted, you will be silenced one day. So we urge you to do the right thing for the family of Adam and the community Adam was raised in. It's short, it's brief, and I'm going to go back onto loyalty. Then again, just let me talk about loyalty. I'm rushing it because this nonsense is on my head and he needs exposing. But the bottom line is we've had a young man, hard-working young man from the Prescott area of Liverpool. He's worked all week. He's went out on the night with his family and friends. And these rats, who are well known in the area, have went and took his life. These people need bringing to justice, and anyone that's helped them, anyone that's had the weapon, anyone that knows where the weapon could be, anyone knows where the weapon could have been dumped or got rid of, you need to let people know where it may be. Anyone that knows exactly who was in possession of that bike at that time needs to share that information. If you know anything, absolutely anything at all, doesn't matter how small or how big you may think it could be, it's now time for you to grow a set of balls, understand where your misguided loyalty lies, and start sharing that information with the authorities so this investigation can come to some sort of conclusion and the family of Adam Ellison get the answers they so rightly deserve. Our communities cannot continue to sit back, remain silent when these individuals you're not talking about are going on to commit more murder after they've committed the first ones. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're not appreciating it, you're just a little bit stupid. You need to appreciate, you need to put yourself in that family's shoes. What if it's you one day? because it could happen. The people you're mixing with don't think twice. If they believe you're going to switch on them, they will switch on you, even if there's no evidence that you're going to switch on them. If they get a little bit paranoid about you, that you're going to start squealing or whatever, they're going to come for you and they're going to make your life very, very difficult. It's important that if you want to remain anonymous, to know that you can remain anonymous when you share the information that's needed. It's very important you share information, as I've just stated, about the bike, the whereabouts, on the run up to it and afterwards. The weapon that was used. Can you identify what weapon it was? Can you identify where it came from? Can you identify where it was got rid of to? All these little bits of information will help that investigation massively. I'd just like to say now, rest in peace, Adam Ellison, and everyone in the city should be standing up to this organised crime group who have destroyed lives around the West Derby, Knowsley and Ayton area for a long, long time. Now look, I'm reaching out to you people. On that night, there was 5 kids, 6 kids, all on separate motorbikes. At the time of the incident where Adam lost his life, there was a green and white motorbike known as a KX85 big wheel with Gibbs performance stuff all over it. On the back of that, riding pillion, was the murderer. Yous lads that was on the other bikes are not murderers. You lads on the other bikes have not got nothing to lose, really. You will be helping a family that's in pain and in trauma. Don't be thinking that if you share the information you've got, you will be going to jail for life. You're in a bad position just like everyone else is. I encourage you to grow a set of balls, understand that them people that you was loyal to are now out the picture. It's important you come forward and share what you can. Because what you're doing, keeping these secrets, you're going to suffer. The longer you keep hold of these secrets, it's going to make you guilty, and karma will affect you and your family in ways that you just do not expect it to happen. Believe me when I say this, you will not be in trouble if you give the information up that you need to be given up. Where was the bike? Who purchased the bike? Where did the bike come from? Where did it go? Who used the weapon? What type of weapon was it? Does he always carry the weapon? Did he discard the weapon somewhere that you know it got discarded to? Can it still be found? Is it buried? Was it in a lake? Release that information. It's very, very vital that you do so. Now, this madness that I'm going to start speaking about shouldn't really be on this content, because this content is about, you know, a very, very serious situation where a young man's lost his life. But it is what it is. The more people that hear this, the more people will speak about it, and hopefully more victims will be brave enough to come forward and speak to me, speak to the police, speak to whoever. It doesn't matter if your boyfriend's a drug dealer. It doesn't matter if your boyfriend's participating in organised crime. I might get on with this family, whatever. If you're a victim to this perverted nonsense, you're sitting there in trauma. You're sitting there with these things affecting your life every single day. Will this reignite them feelings that you've tried to bury over the years, keeping these secrets of this nonsense? Maybe so, but it needs to. You need to understand that you're not alone. You need to understand this man has been going for over 35 years, abusing young girls, picking young girls up from schools, taking them to massage parlours in Manchester and letting them be gang raped. You need to understand how dirty and how evil this poisonous man is. You need to come forward and support and make the case strong against this paedophile. We always see in the papers, on your news, how paedophiles are being arrested after 30 years when there's been people complaining for years about them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's important, if there's any victims of this paedophile who I'm going to start speaking about in the moment, do not be scared of the family. They're all the same. They've all been threatening victims of these allegations for years, intimidating them to keep their mouth shut. Why? Because they uphold the family name that they cherish. And I'm about to let you know exactly what the Kelly family is like from Liverpool. Now, let me give you a little bit of history about me and the Kellys. When I was released in 2017, I had a girl contact me. At that point, she was in her mid-20s. At that point, she started telling me how Gary Kelly was a paedophile and a dirty, dying nonce. Now, I have my issues with the little Paul Kelly, and I have done for years because he's just been hating on me for whatever reason. So when I got that information off one of the victims, I shared that information along my channels 5 years ago in 2017. I was screaming about zest. I was screaming about this family of nonsense, and no one was believing me. And since then, I've been getting verbally attacked, silently attacked by the little horrible rat Paul Kelly. And he continues to do so on a monthly basis. Why? Because I know some home truths about his dad, Eddie, Gary, and Marty. Now, as you all know, they've all got secrets in that family. And let me just tell you from now, half of the family don't speak to Gary because of how he's behaved towards his own relatives. Gary Kelly has abused his own brother when he was a child. Gary Kelly raped his own brother when he was a child. That brother has moved to Australia. That brother now lives in Australia and does not speak to the family. Paul Kelly, on occasions, has been heard and repeated, "I'm a monster like you, Gary. I'm a monster like you, Gary." Exactly, that's what you are, a dirty, dying nonce. With certain girls who keep on repeating what this Gary has done to them. Now, these girls were first groomed. One girl in particular was in a care home. One girl got picked up at a school. This young girl in uniform used to get took to a flat above a beauty parlour called Zest. This girl is the same age as the nonce's son, Josh. Josh is well aware of what this girl is being put through. Josh has spoken to this girl on numerous occasions, asking her to go to the police. He's also turned round and tried to prevent the prosecution happening. Now, I'm not lying here. I believe this to be truth. I've got everything, every conversation I've had with these people is on this phone. I'm not going to put it out there because I don't think it's right. But if I've got to, I will do. I'm not shy, especially when there's a nonce involved, a dirty nonce. Now, this nonce is in his 60s, late 50s, early 60s now. And when this girl was 14 and 15, she used to get took to a place called the Zest Beauty Parlour every Monday night. Monday night, it used to be the till-up night. He used to sort the wages on the Monday night, so it was shut early on the Monday night. On them Monday nights, Gary Kelly would go to a school, pick this juvenile up with a couple of mates and take her back to the beauty parlour. He would then ply her with drink and drugs and abuse the life out of her. Now, as he's doing this to this young girl, he's grooming her. He's grooming her into a life of traumatic experiences with men from all over the place. He's trying to get this young girl to have threesomes with grown men, which she did. This young girl was raped anally. Let me repeat that. This young girl was raped anally at the age of 16. Above the Zest, you've got accommodation above the Zest beauty parlour. You know, the one that Josh runs. Josh is well aware of this abuse that's been happening to this young girl since he was a child, before he ended up owning that shop. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, really, I should be playing the content so you'll learn it from her words. That's what I should be doing, but I don't want to really expose her to the levels that basically I'm exposing her to now. She's given me permission. She wants it. She's had a house smashed up. She's had a car smashed up. She's been threatened to have her face slashed. She's had men sitting outside her house in Range Rovers threatening her to drop charges because she did bring charges and it was proven and the police were ready to charge this individual. It's factual. He's one of them paedophiles that has used his family name and intimidation to get away with raping children for a long, long time. He was abusing this girl when she was 15 and he was 31. The girl is now in her 30s and he's in his 60s. And I am sitting here in the firm belief that he has got more victims out there. And it's used victims that need to come forward and get this dirty, dying paedophile convicted for what he's done. He's been at it for years. He has abused and raped his own brother, his youngest brother. He abused and raped, and that's a family secret that they have kept amongst themselves. Gary Kelly is a dirty, dying paedophile, and Paul Kelly has gone out his way to intimidate victims of his behaviour over the years. There's a lot more people out there that know this. There's a lot more people out there that have suffered at the hands of this. There's a lot more people out there like David Maguire that's been involved in this dirty on this young girl. There was an occasion when David Maguire...
Scouse sit off you.
I might be getting the names mixed up. David Maguire and Gary Kelly have had this girl in the back of a lorry. They have forced themselves on this young girl and raped her multiple times. This is when the girl's 17 years old. This girl was getting encouraged by Gary Kelly to bring some of her schoolmates to the sunbed parlour. They will get free sunbeds if they come along. The girl, not understanding the position she's in, not understanding that she's being groomed and raped on a regular basis, decides, okay, I'll bring some of my mates from school to the beauty parlour on the basis that they get to use the sunbeds for nothing, these sunbeds. When these girls are in that beauty parlour, this dirty, dying nonce is forcing himself upon them. He's forcing his fingers into their vaginas. And when they start screaming and crying, he starts turning nasty and getting rid of them. The girl who unknowingly brought her friends into this paedophile's space is traumatized and feeling guilty for it all. As I say, people, I'm not lying. I've got no need to lie. I've always pitied that little fat prick, Paul Kelly, because he's always been a dodgy little rat. He's always been perverted. He's always battered his birds and forced his birds into group sex with other men, forced his birds into lesbian acts with other women. Like the girlfriend he's with right now, he forces that girl into orgies with groups of men and groups of women on a regular basis. But for him, he's just a little dirty, dying weasel. It's all about this 60-year-old nonce that's been going around the city for over 4 decades, grooming and damaging young girls. Now, the girls that have already come forward are brave, but they've been intimidated to the point where they're committing suicide and self-harming. Do you understand what I'm saying? There has been one girl that has suicided. Some girl has hurt herself that much, she's died. The intimidation tactics that this nonce used because of his gangster name is appalling, and he needs to be brought to book by the police. The police have got all they need on him, but the vital witness is too scared to stand up and be counted due to the intimidation that her and her family have received. I'm not sitting here screaming like this on fake information. It's making me sick that this known criminal within the city of Liverpool that's been relevant with an organised crime for well over 40 years. He's been a part of the IRA. He's been in Ireland and killed 2 prostitutes and a priest. This the type of man he is. He has committed murder in his past and he's got away with it. The murders he committed was in Ireland. He committed murder on 2 prostitutes and a priest. That's the information I'm getting, and I believe it to be true. The same man I know used to be around a man called Paddy Carroll and Tommy Gilday. When I was around Tommy Gilday, he was always telling me about this and what he was up to. The likes of Paul Wilson, who were close friends with this Gary Kelly for decades and decades, have turned a blind eye to his actions when they know quite well what type of monster is. They've turned a blind eye to his actions. Why? Because that's the criminal fraternity for you. They're all monsters in their own little way. Gary Kelly has got more victims out there, I am certain. When you've got a young man raping his own brother in his own home, you know there's a dangerous paedophile there. This man never stopped. He's gone on to abuse young boys and young girls. He likes to harm young boys. The things that he does and has these young girls doing to him, penetrating them up the bum with vibrators, asking young girls to lick his rectum and mad stuff like that. That he has sat a young girl on a toilet facing the wall and anally raped her till she is bleeding, and then turning around and telling that young woman, you are a young girl, you are a woman now. You took that like a woman. You're growing up now. You're full of cow. These are the words he's using on a 15, 16-year-old girl that's in school uniform. It's proven one of the victims has been in cahoots with the Unity team. What's the Unity team? It's a nonce team, and they've had everything they've needed to put that nonce behind bars. But the main witness had to retract the statements due to the intimidation, due to constant harassment by known gangsters around the Kelly family. Now listen, young woman, if you're watching this, no doubt you are. I know there's a few victims of his watching this right now. And I'm going to encourage you to just think a little minute. You see what he's put you through? Whether it was a finger, whether it was anal rape, whether it was whatever. It's all nasty and poisonous. I need you to sit there and have a strong, deep look at yourselves. Because the longer you keep your mouth shut, the more victims that he is being creating. The time that you have kept your mouth shut, a decade or so, is enough time for him to go on and create more victims. And you know, like every victim he's had, he only goes for young girls and young boys. He calls you fresh meat. He calls you finger licking. He calls you KFC, doesn't he? Finger licking chicken. That's what he calls you. Am I right? He never just used it on one girl, did he? He's used it on a few. I'm asking you grown women now that have suffered at the hands of this crazy, violent, dirty, poisonous nonce to dig deep and understand what he may be doing now as a 60-year-old paedophile that's been getting away with it for years and years and years. He needs bringing to justice before he keels over and is dead. It's going to be too late for all the victims that are still out there, scared of his family name, scared of his muscle that he sends round to intimidate them. You need to come forward. You need to speak to the authorities because they've already got a case on them. The more of you victims that get strong and front this and go and speak to the authorities about him, the more possibility and chances of him being arrested, prosecuted and put in jail for the rest of his life. Like all the rest of the dire nonsense you see coming out the woodwork 20, 30 years later. The girls that he's abused and anally raped and had them shoving stuff up there in their body in front of other grown men and women in beauty parlours, drugging them, taking them to orgies, letting them be used like little bits of meat. They're not the only victims. There's a good load of yous out there, I'm convinced. I'm encouraging yous to have the strength and think about all the other victims that he's created while yous have kept your mouth shut. Think about the damage and the trauma he is leaving young girls and young boys in who are now teenagers and adults. He's probably grooming young girls right now at the age of 60 and he's getting away with it because victims such as yourself have been too scared to come forward. I'm saying to you, please, search your soul. Understand the damage he's done to you. Understand the damage he will have been doing to others while he's been scot-free to do so. You all know the flats above the Zest. You might have been there. Was you there? Did you go there? What year did you go there? Who was you with? Have you got friends that can confirm it? Are you too scared to talk about it? Can you not confide in your boyfriend because he knows this family and he's dealing drugs or he's part of organised crime groups? If your boyfriend is part of that fraternity, if he loves you, he will listen to you and he will encourage you to go to the police. Don't be scared to stand up and be counted and possibly save the lives of other young women and boys who this man has undoubtedly targeted. Undoubtedly targeted. It's a family secret amongst the Kelly family. The Kelly family know about this nonsense. They know quite well what he is. Most of the family don't let the kids go near him. Most of the family don't let the young nieces and nephews get anywhere near him because they know exactly what he's like. I suggest some of them young girls of that family have suffered at the hands of him. I firmly believe that. And if you are one of them relatives that has been abused by this nonce and you have kept your mouth shut as a family rule, you need to question yourself as well, because when he's stopped working it out on you, he's gone on to another victim and another victim and another victim. They don't stop until they get caught. He's been at it for over 40 years, going to schools and picking young girls up, taking them back to Zest, plying them with alcohol and drugs, sexually abusing them, anally raping them. Anally raping young girls and telling them young girls, you're now a woman, you should be proud of yourself. This is what women do. Listen, that family, for keeping them secrets, for not hanging him out to dry with the law, are just as bad as him. The perverted little rat, Paul Kelly, knows exactly what I'm on about because he has been heard over phone conversations. I'm a monster like you, Gary. I'm a monster like you, Gary. That is Paul Kelly's words. They know that their dad's youngest brother got raped by Gary Kelly in their own home when they was a child. That's why Paul Kelly's dad does not speak to Gary Kelly fully. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've got Josh, who runs the Zest, you know, the celebrity haunt for years, Who owns that cest? Gary Kelly, the paedophile. The majority of the school, Notre Dame school, that has been going to cest for decades, been around this paedophile. Have any of yous had to push away his dirty advances? Have any of yous experienced his noncy ways when you've been in his company or at his beauty parlour? Have any of yous been took upstairs to the accommodation upstairs where he has raped and abused girls in school uniforms consistently? Going to the shop next door to Zest, buying half a bottles of vodka, plying them to these young girls with drugs, and when the girls are going unconscious, he's spreading their legs and sucking on their vaginas. He's masturbating and then putting his fingers in between their legs and assaulting them aggressively. Fucking nonsense. That's what yous are, Kellys. Yous know about him. You've kept your secret for well over 40 years. You, poor Kelly, have been going round to victims and intimidating them with your steroid abuse and drug dealing friends on a regular basis. This isn't lies. This isn't a personal agenda. You know what's been going on with me and that rat. You know that little fat has been targeting me every month since I exposed them in 2017 when these victims first got onto me. I didn't hold my mouth shut. I weren't scared of that dirty drug dealing family. The minute I got that information in 2017, I shared it. And what did they do? Target me consistently for the last 5 years. I'm going to tell you right now, that family has been hiding the secret of this paedophile from everyone, protecting them, intimidating victims. What? To uphold the family name? The family name is full of, and it stinks in the city of Liverpool, and it always has done. Josh, you homosexual boy, I'm not holding that against you. What I'm holding against you is the fact that you've known your dad has been abusing young girls your age. When you were 16, your dad was abusing girls your age, and you knew about it. You done about it. When one of these young victims has told you about your dad, you've went and ran to your daddy. Your daddies went straight out and terrified the life out of this young girl. He's had victims where they've hung themselves. You've got a young girl that's killed herself because of this monster. These girls are stuck. Why? Because it's a criminal family. It's a well-known organised crime family within the city of Liverpool and beyond. These girls have had no one to turn to because they're shit scared. These girls have developed all sorts of psychological issues. They're scared to speak because no one's ever spoke about it. And here I am now letting everyone know about it. Why am I doing it? Because I want to encourage you victims to stand on your own 2 feet and take the power back that nonce took from you. Don't suffer in silence any longer. Don't let this paedophile get away with what he done. Because while you let him carry on doing what he's doing, he's destroying more young girls and more young boys' lives all over the city. He likes the young girls and he likes the young boys. And paedophiles like that do not stop. The nonce has had women in his life that has helped him gain access to younger girls in huge numbers. I won't mention your name, you dirty, horrible. So let me try and say it calm instead of being aggressive. Gary Kelly, a well-known member of the organised crime family, the Kellys, in which Paul Kelly is a part of, has been abusing, raping and destroying the lives of young girls within the city of Liverpool for well over 40 years. The victims that have been brave enough to come forward have been intimidated and terrified out of their skin. Paedophiles like him do not stop. Once they know they can get away with it, they continue. And when they've got a fetish for young boys and young girls, they never ever stop until the court. The only reason this rat has been able, this dirty dying paedophile has been able to avoid the clutches of the law is because of the reputation of his family of being gangsters. Eddie Kelly, Gary Kelly, Marty Kelly, 3 brothers, the younger of which was raped by Gary in their own home when they were children. The brother that got abused and raped by his own brother now resides in Australia, cannot live up to the fact of what his brother's done. He's disowned the family. You have got daughters of family members that refuse to let their children be in the presence of that paedophile because they know exactly what he is about. There is loads of young girls that have been to the sunbed parlour that are willing to come forward and strengthen the case against this paedophile. I encourage you, once young teenage girls that was abused sexually and aggressively by this paedophile, who are now women, possibly got your own children, but still suffering in silence. I beg you to come forward. I beg you to take a stand. I beg you to go to the authorities as soon as possible and tell them exactly what you experienced at the hands of that dirty, dying, violent rapist. You need to do it, if not for yourselves, for the others that are too scared to talk, that are probably still only 16 right now, maybe 17, 18, being getting abused for the last couple of years, being gaslighted, thinking that it's okay what's going on here when it's not. This is not lies. These are not false accusations. These have got merit. These have got victims attached to the back of them. I've spoke to victims for the last 5 years about this monster, and that family have known about that monster for the last 35, 40 years. Do not sit there and be naive and think he's only got a handful of victims, because I'll tell you right now, he will have loads and loads of victims, boys and girls. Josh, you need to search your soul, mate. The amount of girls you've had in your beauty parlour that your dad owns but lets you run. The amount of young girls you've had going into that beauty parlour from Notre Dame High School, knowing quite well how dangerous your dad is to minors, knowing quite well what he's done to some of these girls that have spoke to you and shared their trauma with you about what your dad has done. You have sat back and let that man engage with children from school while they're coming to your beauty parlour. Any of you girls that have been took there in a nice Range Rover, picked up from your school in West Derby, picked up from your school in Halewood, on the promise that you're going to get free sunbed time. You need to search your souls and understand some of yous were lucky to get away with it. Some of yous weren't so lucky. The girls that he's had in the last 10 or 20 years are probably just like yous, scared to speak up about this organised crime family. Once again, this is a dirty, dying paedophile within the community, being protected by a drug dealing family. Once again, it's very, very, very important that you search your souls and help, if not yourself, help the other victims out there that do exist, that are sitting there terrified, that have been intimidated into silence. Not just you girls, you boys too. Now's the time to let this paedophile face up to the actions that he's done against you. There's not one of yous, there's not two of yous, there's loads of yous. You need to come together and come forward and strengthen the case against this dying, violent paedophile. Don't let him go to the grave without justice being served. Don't let him go to the grave without all these young girls and boys receiving justice. Give them strength. Show them there's someone willing to stand up and be counted for them. Just the way I am now. Just the way I'm putting my neck on the line for the victims that have been speaking to me about this horrible, nasty, who everyone's scared to speak about because of his organised crime family. That family have been hiding the secret of his nonsense for decades, and they all should be held responsible. Yous as parents should be keeping your children away from that beauty parlour that he has had for well over 20 years, and he has used as a base to commit his acts of paedophilia and rape, anal rape on 16-year-old girls. When they're bleeding, you're telling them you're now a woman. You need hanging inside that devil's pit you call a beauty parlour. Give me a minute. I'm going to ask one of the victims if I can use a recording of her. If she says no, I'd fully appreciate it. If she says yes, you're going to hear it from a horse's mouth. But if not, just let me ask her. Okay, She's given me permission.
Scouse.
She's given me permission
You
to let you hear some of the details of what has gone on to her. She's very, very, very brave because she's already suffered with intimidation. She's already had houses, cars and faces smashed up.
Listen, this man's, he's psycho, he won't leave me alone, he's threatening me baby's dad, he's just weird, he kept phoning me work up, telling them all sorts of shit about me because I worked for probation at the time, telling them that my ex was known for guns and meaning in, Google him and all this, and she's got criminals in her life, and he wouldn't talk to me or my mates, whereas Gary carries on. Gary loved it, and 17, he smashed the house and car up. I told Team Unity everything. They went back to the school where I was at. It was all locked down there because there was rumours going around that I was going out with an older man. My granddad, they called him Gigi, which was Granddad Gary. That was the nickname he got. All my mates knew. It was like a big rumour going around the school that I was being groomed by an older man. And then it was all locked down with social services. My foster carers were all willing to come forward against him. Even me auntie, my mum, all my family knew about him. And Neil, do you know what? Neil Moore, he was involved with Gary at the time, and as soon as Neil Moore that used to sell the cars. Yeah, I don't know if it's the one who used to sell the cars, but the one from West Derby. Right. He's definitely not a nonce because he had men in ranges sat outside the house, and what they'd do is they'd keep the engine on. And I'd think I was brave, I'd go to the front door and they'd turn the engine off and just look at me and just keep looking at me. And then one of them shouted, "Drop the charges, girl, if you know what's good for you. He'll have a 24-hour, he'll have a 20. For 1 year, I'm under observation because I'm around him. The IRA, because he used to wait for the IRA when he was 30, you know. He's now 60 odd, and he killed 3 people in Ireland. He used to block questioning him for a bit. And then, do you know what he did? I was moving into a new house in West Derby. So if someone was to boot your fucking door with it locked, it's going through. Daddy raped his own younger brother when he was a kid. 31 years older than me. That's fucking horrible. He's horrible. He's a dirty bastard. I know everything about him. Between them, I think it's the one who's moved to Australia, so I'm going to say exactly. He's done a lot of things, that bastard. A lot of things, and he can't even... Like, you not heard of any dodginess with that fucking pump? The poor one just going outside, the girls off. Because he wouldn't do his sordid little fucking sexual fantasies. Little horrible bastard, mate. He's honestly a horrible bastard. Full on. I told the police everything, all of this. And I can tell them all again tomorrow. Nothing's changed. It's the truth. It's factual. It's disgusting. But I've survived it. And I put my abuse. I actually worked for Steel. While making me reconsider it massively. You need to, you know, because I didn't have his personal, I had his like work phone, and I'm to tell me something, and I think he fiddles with it because she actually tried it on with them, and I believe me dad. And she said meet me for Costa Coffee, and I was like, no, I don't. He left the country because he fiddles with his brother as a kid. Any of his family going to try and stand next to him? Yes, and I've had so much going on with that. My little boy had a brain injury last year. She hated me because when she was with Gary, I had that message off you and I wake up. She's saying somewhere. It's just normal, you know what I mean? Like, and that's his reason for doing it. So what's Paul's dad's name then? He's never seen his granddaughter since I came forward to the family because they know. Yeah, they're all on it. Arrested. Josh was telling me to do that about his own dad. And you know, Gary's daughter-in-law won't speak to him again because she believed me straight away, and Gary's not allowed to see his granddaughter. He's never considered it massively. You need to, you know, because look, I know. You know what, you know. Forward off your post, you know. Well, I'm going to encourage you tonight. I'm not going to mention you, but I'm going to start raising the matter. No, just keep saying, like, I've got it, you know.
Right. You never really heard much because it's 40 minutes long. But I have permission to let you hear. The information I'm sharing there is correct. I've been speaking to one of the victims. I believe her 100%, and that's why I've done this. She's very, very, very brave. when you understand the intimidation that she's been through at the hands of this dirty, dying family. I'm reaching out to use other victims to make this strong. Unite with this victim, unite with the other victims, and get this paedophile brought to justice, because he will have created well more victims than you. And you can't sit back and let him continue to get away with it. He's probably nonsense 16-year-old girls right now as we speak. He's probably got a couple of them scared. It's very important that you come forward, be strong. Don't give about what your boyfriend's going to say. If he loves and cares for you, he will encourage you. It's important that you come forward and get this dirty, dying rapist off the streets for good. I'm going to go. Anyone who might have gone through past trauma or been damaged at the hands of paedophiles or rapists, this way and about, making you feel bad again. This is about me exposing a dirty, violent rapist that has damaged young girls up and down the city for decades. And I mean decades. Okay? I shouldn't really have put her on the tap there, but I believe she's got a panic buttons. She's got people around her. She's got the cameras. It is what it is. I believe she's safe. If she's not, I'm convinced she will get on the phone to the authorities and make this happen, because she needs to, in my eyes. The Kelly family have been holding a secret about a dirty, dying paedophile. Why? To uphold their family name. Your family name has never been nice in the city of Liverpool. You have always been involved in dealing drugs. You have always been involved in perverted activity with other people, especially you, Paul Kelly, you dirty, dying rat, intimidating victims for your dirty, dying nonce of an uncle. You're a mess. You and your bed. Dirty, dying scumbags. All of you. To use victims, especially the one that's contacting me, you are a very, very brave young woman. Very brave. And you've got nothing but 100% respect for me. 100% respect from me. You're so strong and so brave. You can hear that you dealt with it. You can hear that you've accepted it. But you can also hear that it's still there. It's still an underlying problem for you. You're still not past it. It's still bothering you an awful lot. The only way you're going to stop that having the impact upon your life is by going to the police, not giving up intimidation, and going all the way with it. And once you get up and stand on that pedestal and show them other victims that you're a victim that's willing to be strong for them other victims will come forward and strengthen the case against this dirty, dying, violent, animal rapist.